Hi, for those that don't know me, my name is David Slinger, and 25 or so years ago I was living in the UK with my wife Margie, and Margie had joined a healing group. Now I didn't feel to go along, maybe I was a bit shy at the time, or I don't know why I didn't go along, but I was certainly curious to ask her some questions when she got back one time. And she shared with me the basic information of what they were doing. And I thought, well, I'll have a go at this. Doesn't sound too difficult. So I sat Margie in a chair, got behind her, got my hands in place, and did what I needed to do, and bang, that energy was flowing through me, and something very powerful, very natural was taking place, and it was a very profound and very enjoyable experience. Now, more recently, some people have been asking me to share this piece of knowledge, and this is what this video is about. So this video contains everything that you need to know to get started on your own journey in practicing the art of energetic healing. Now, what I'm about to teach you has got nothing to do with Reiki healing. Reiki healing is something that I've never experienced, I've never practiced, I don't know anything about. But I will give them full credit for opening up people's minds and opening up the possibility for a lot more people to give and receive energetic healing. In fact, they've gone so far now that it's even available in hospitals. So kudos to them to opening up the field. This is not Reiki healing. It's not associated with Reiki healing. It's a very simple and very natural technique that anybody can learn, as I said, within the 10-15 minutes that it takes me to put this information out through this video. Now, this technique requires one prerequisite to be in place, and that is that you need to be ready, or at least open to accept the idea that there is something way bigger than us. Whether you want to call it God, whether you want to call it Allah, whether you want to call it the universe, the collective consciousness, I don't know. It doesn't matter. As long as you have some idea that there is something bigger than us, and that whatever this is would have the intent to want to help us to heal. So with this understanding in place, then you need to be ready to delegate. You need to hand over the responsibility, hand over the control to this power, and be ready to become a tool in this process. Now, this is a very humbling thing to do, and it's not an easy thing to do, because the ego will want to get involved. The ego will want to wear that hat that says I'm a healer, that I'm doing this, and I want to make this person better, and all that stuff. And all that stuff is, if anything is going to inhibit this process, it's that. And the more of that you can get out of the way, the more of your ego that you can remove from the process, the more that you're going to enable this process, and the more of that energy and that consciousness, that frequency, that information that your patient needs is going to be able to flow through you and to do its job. So what you are effectively doing in this method is you are channeling energy from source energy, and you're channeling information, and that information, the information of the universe is frequency, and that energy and that information or frequency is coming through you into the person that's being healed, and they can use that energy and they can use that information to help heal themselves. So it's them that is the person that's in the chair or on the couch that is being healed. They're also doing the healing, but what you are doing is you are resourcing them with energy and information from source to help them in that healing journey. So with those things in place, with that understanding in place, then we can move to actually doing it. And actually doing it is very, very simple. The first thing you need to do is to get into a comfortable position with you and the person being healed. Now, one way is for them to be sitting in a chair and you to be standing behind them, or they can be lying on a bed or a couch, and you can be sitting down, just behind them. There are a few different ways in which this will work, but basically you need to be in proximity and with your hands. I usually work above the head, but in the energetic space above the head, it doesn't really matter. To me, it's not critical. Even if somebody's got a bad leg and you feel to focus your attention down on their leg, that's okay. But as far as I'm concerned, the energy is coming in through your hands into the energy field, and that energy will go where it is needed to go. So we don't need to be overly involved in that process and moving your hands around. From my perspective, if you feel something different, then that's okay. But as far as the hands are in the energy field, then that energy is flowing and it becomes available to that person. Okay, once you've got the position sorted out, the next thing to do is to put out your intent. It is, as is most of life, it is a lot to do with intent. What do you intend to do? And for me, it's just a simple silent prayer or silent request. Lord, universe, please use me to help this person heal. Use me as a conduit. And that is enough to get that process started. So you put out the intent, you're in position, and then you can focus your attention on your hands, and you can allow yourself to feel that energy flowing out of your hands. And you might feel some kind of tingling, some kind of heat, as by way of feedback that the process is started. This may not happen for you straight away. You may not be able to feel it, but you might get some feedback from the person in the chair. Either way, I can assure you, if you're standing there with that intent and getting yourself out of the way, then that process is happening. So how long you do healing for is really up to you. I use half an hour as a rule of thumb, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Go with your gut on that. But if you work with half an hour as a rule of thumb, that's a comfortable period for somebody to be sitting, lying, receiving healing, and it's a comfortable period to be standing in one position. So half an hour or whatever. But what you need to do is have some kind of signal in place so that the person being healed knows that you have finished. Very good chance that they will be into a very relaxed state, maybe even have gone to sleep. But if you've got a signal and you just give them that signal when you finish, what I do is, as I just indicate, just a gentle stroke on the shoulder, just to say that I've finished. Then I walk away and leave them in their own space to come around, and don't immediately jump into a conversation with them. How was that? That's just your ego wanting to know, wanting some feedback. But if you can just respect the person's space, step away, you're likely to be in a very quiet and peaceful space yourself. So give yourself some time to enjoy that as well. And most importantly for me is to finish off by giving thanks. Thanks to that universe, that power, for using you in this way, because it can be a very humbling and in fact a very blissful experience to be used in this way. And a heart full of gratitude is going to help you get the most out of it. and the most out of it can be a real state of bliss. There is a real benefit to be had for you as the healer, in that if you can stay in the moment, you can stay present with the process. That divine energy is flowing through you, and you can feel that energy, and you can feel locked into the moment with that energy, and that can be a very blissful place to be. In fact, I really enjoy giving people healing, and it's not altruistic. It's obviously I want to be part of other people's healing journeys. There is a reward in that. I want to help, but it's not all altruistic. I actually get a real enjoyment, a real peace, and often a real sense of bliss through giving other people healing. So there are great rewards to be had, and a heart full of gratitude will help you reap those rewards as well. Okay, this technique can be used to do healing on yourself. Sit in a chair, lie on the bed, whatever. Put your hands above your body in your energy field, which in a position whichever is comfortable. If you're lying on the bed, you can put your hands either side on the pillow, or you can hover them over your chest, and use exactly the same procedure. Express your intent, allow the energy to start flowing, and receive it. Get out of the way, and let happen what needs to happen. Now, if you understand that everything is energy and everything is connected, we're all connected, the idea behind remote healing should be fairly simple for you to grasp. And this principle, this method can be used very simply to offer remote healing. But one thing that I haven't mentioned so far, which is kind of implied if you've got somebody present with you, is that you need to get permission. So if somebody's sitting in the chair in front of you, then that permission is implied. But if you're healing somebody remotely, then you need to get in touch with them beforehand and say, look, I'd like to do some remote healing with you. Are you open to it? So that needs to be in place, and then you need to make that energetic connection. Now, if it's somebody that you know well, a family member, friend, and you can conjure them up in your mind's eye, then you've got a connection. But it might be easier for some people. It's certainly easier for me to use a photograph. Have a photograph of that person in front of you, or a strand of DNA, a piece of hair. That makes a very strong energetic connection. And then you just stand over that photograph, or over that DNA strand, that hair strand, and use exactly the same principle. Put out the intent there and allow that energy to flow. And if you can sync it with the person being healed, that maybe they perhaps are aware of the time that you're doing it, so that they can be a participant consciously in the process. Or you could even do it whilst they're in bed asleep. That can be a powerful time to do this. And with us being down in New Zealand, we know people all over the world who are often in bed asleep while we're still up and about. So, but if you can sync it, then that's great. But certainly get the permission of the person that you are going to be helping to heal. Okay, working with other tools. Now, one thing that I discovered pretty early on is that some of the tools that we have, that we're making and distributing, can actually help in the process of energy healing, because the nature of life energy is that it actually flows to a place where the concentration is highest. Now that's counter to what we understand about most forms of energy, which flow from a high potential down to a low potential. But with life energy, you're creating a high potential by giving somebody healing. Then life energy will flow into that space. So if you use something like our pyramid energy balancer and put that underneath the chair or underneath the bed of the person that you are healing, what will happen is that the pyramid will actually take part in the process by bringing in more energy. In fact, it will actually become more active, more energy will flow through it, and that energy will then become available to the person being healed. So, one piece of feedback that I often used to get is just like, who put the wind tunnel under my legs? Because people could feel the energy flowing, not only just through me, but from the pyramid energy balancer, or any of our energetic tools will pretty much do the same thing. Now, another tool that we've got, of course, is the Quantum Scalar Box, the QSB. Now, we have done workshops with this technology. We did one in Wellington in New Zealand a few years ago, and we worked with a group of healers, people that are already familiar with energy healing. They had their own modalities, and we used the technology alongside. And what we got as feedback, is what I experienced and what was universally expressed, was that the two things worked very well together. What the QSB was doing was kind of shaking things up and helping the process to happen, helping that healing to happen. So it was additive. The channeled energy healing and the energy and frequencies coming from the QSB were working together in concert to make that healing experience more intense and more useful for the patient. And that's basically it. Not very complicated, in fact very simple, but also very profound and very rewarding. And if you can stay detached from the process, then it's even more rewarding. What tends to happen is, particularly if we're healing somebody that we're close to and we feel for, we can get connected at that level as like, I really want this person to heal, and that's clogging the pipe, because really it's their healing journey, and we're just channeling that energy and helping them along the way. But we don't know what that healing journey is. And one of the hardest things as a healer to accept is that not everybody's going to heal. In fact, very hard. This is very hard to accept, particularly if it's somebody that's close to you. But illness can be an escape clause, can be an exit strategy. People can get sick with the intention of moving on beyond this life, or people can be sick with the need to learn something from the process of being sick, and that can also reflect out to the people around them, in that there is stuff to be learned from that. And if that is the case, then it's kind of that will lock that in for whatever period that is going on. But you won't necessarily have access to that information. In fact, very likely you will not have access to that information. So the best thing that you can do is to be completely detached. And if you're detached, that means that your energy is not getting involved. Because if your energy starts to get involved, if you start to do the I am a healer, I'm doing this healing, if you get into that space, you can actually drain your energy, give your energy to the person, and that can even open up a route for you to pick up some of the symptoms of the illness of the person that you're healing. So stay detached from the process, and let the universe do its work through you. And that's basically it. There's one question which I know some people are going to ask. People that have done other forms of healing will say, well, what do you do to protect yourself? And that hinges on the notion that by opening up this kind of connections, that there are beings or entities around that will get up to mischief in your space and negatively affect you. If I remind you what you are channeling, then you can maybe get the idea that is not something you need to worry about. If you're channeling the highest force, the divine energy, there is going to be no need to do any form of protection for you or your patient. And that's it. If you have any questions, let us have them, and we will maybe put them on put the questions and answers on the bottom of this video. But other than that, it's very simple, very rewarding. Get and do it and enjoy. Thanks for watching, and you take care. Bye now.